Hey guys, today we have a pretty cool interview coming up. We're going to be talking with Andy and Dominic, who are two DevMountain grads. One cool thing is we actually have their projects, so you're looking at one in the background right now. I'm going to go through it before we start. We talk about a lot of good things, and in all fairness, I am sponsored by DevMountain, but I don't think that affected the interview at all. I asked what was the best parts, what was the worst parts. I want to really give you guys a clear understanding of what DevMountain has to offer. And before we do that, I'm going to show off the three projects that Dominic and Andy sent me, so you guys can kind of see. This first one, no, it's not Nike. It's clonenike.com. And so what's cool about this one is they actually went and they built this in Ionic, if I remember correctly, and it's a copy of Nike's website, and you can kind of go through and see what it's all about, see their product line. But you can see it's very clean, probably better than I could make it. And I'm not touching Ionic. I'd have to learn Ionic, but it's a very clean website. And your portfolio when you're trying to get a junior level job is really what you're going to need to get started. The next project they called, I'm going to guess that Dominic made this, called DomPin. As you've seen in numerous projects that I've made, making code pins and things like that, it's a code pin clone where he went and cloned a very interactive website for code pin, and then the final one that was a group project, they made a Google Docs site. And these aren't all, by the way, these aren't like websites; they're actual web applications. So everything works on here and all that sort of stuff. So they've been making lots of very clean, very cool websites. But as always, guys, thank you for watching the video. Look forward to a very in-depth and fun, because I keep my interviews pretty casual, interview about DevMountain and reviewing DevMountain coding bootcamp. All right, thanks for watching, guys. So let's jump into it. So recently, both of you were in the DevMountain, was it the full stack development program at what cohort, at what city?
We were both in Provo. And yeah, we were doing a full stack web or a 12-week immersive course. Nice.
Now, how long ago did you both graduate? It was pretty recently, right?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago? How has been since graduating? Because I've never gone to a boot camp, but I imagine both of you are proactively continuing and looking for work and studying. Is that something that you're both doing right now?
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot.
Good.
Really oh, my bad. You on?
But because so a while back I was doing some research about boot camps, and I wanted to specifically see, because I have a very positive opinion. I think people who really work hard can excel at it. And the people that I've seen that were talking negatively about boot camps, for some reason, thought that when the boot camp came to an end, they were done and they were like ready to go. But which you can be ready, but like you have to. I think software, you continue your education for like 20, 30 years. So if you think it's over after 3 months, you're gonna have an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about that is, yeah, like you said in like your other videos, it is a job in itself to get a job. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge getting your first web development job.
By the way, we have somebody in chat, Gabriel, a boy who is a DevMountain graduate from Provo, so specifically Provo as well, got their job within a month of graduating. Have you guys started looking for work? And if so, how is that going for you?
I've been throwing out a lot of applications, hitting up people on LinkedIn. I was trying to connect with people and definitely applying to a crap ton of jobs, I would say. But I haven't heard anything too great yet, but I mean, it's a process. Getting a job in itself is a job.
For me, yeah, I got offered a job to work at a coding boot camp at my university as a either an instructor or a teacher aide, but I still haven't really decided on that.
So that's interesting, because that's like a dream job of mine. I haven't talked about that too much, but one of the reasons I'm going back to finish up my bachelor's is because I would like to be a teacher in something like that one day.
That's pretty awesome.
So I do have a weird feeling about going to boot camps that are ran by universities specifically, because I feel like their obligation is to fix their computer science programs or their information and technologies programs, and not just try to get people to spend 4 years and $40,000 and then another 3 to 6 months and $10,000 on top of it. So what do you guys, now that you've recently graduated, what would be some advice for people maybe considering going to a boot camp like DevMountain?
I would say do a lot of pre-course work. A lot of pre-course work. And when you get there, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to like make a little group. Like that's why I feel like me and him did really well in the cohort, because we made like a little study group that like every day after we were finishing up in class, we'd all go out to eat or whatever afterwards. And then we would study up together, build apps, little to-do list, whatever. I feel like that was the most beneficial thing that we did.
Yeah, I agree. Just just do a lot of practice. It's gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna be really frustrating, but in the end, it's all gonna be worth it.
Now, do you think, because one of the reasons I really like DevMountain is because they offer the housing and you're working or you're living with other people in the cohorts. Do you think that is a beneficial aspect to DevMountain as a specific boot camp, and did that help facilitate the, hey, we're all kind of in the same group, let's study, let's work on our projects together?
Oh yeah, that was huge. Literally every single day after the cohort, we would be sitting down studying until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up early together and going right back to class doing it again. I thought that was like the whole immersive part, that you guys are all in it together, and it's like it's literally a boot camp, just like military, and it was good.
Yeah, the only issue that I have with like the housing is that they need to like pair up people who are in like the same cohort in like the same housing, just because like usually there'll be a higher cohort rooming with like a lower cohort. You know what I mean? So, and if they're like in the same, they can all just like work together at the same time while doing the same courses and stuff.
I didn't know that. I assumed that they were all in the same sort of path or at the same point in time in the program.
No, not at all.
So what did you guys, and I'm glad you brought up a moment ago about preparing for a boot camp, because the worst thing that you can do is go into a boot camp unprepared, because I really think in that period of time you get out of it what you put into it. So you're going to be putting in those 80-hour weeks, but you also should be putting in like 3 to 6 months of prep work to go into there so you can build the best projects and learn the more in-depth things. What did you guys do to prepare for DevMountain?
I did free code camp.
Okay.
I did probably from the beginning all the way up to I think it's like the advanced projects and algorithms. I did probably up to there. And then once I got to there, I kind of started making my own little to-do apps and stuff. And then I went to the cohort.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. Well, I started with like Codecademy, and I wasn't really like, I mean, it was good, but it was a lot of like hand holding. And then I moved to free code camp, and then from there, just watched a whole bunch of like tutorial videos, and then yeah, that's the best way to prepare for a boot camp, is just practice and practice.
Yeah, it's always interesting to go from, hey, I'm just basically copying code on Codecademy and regurgitating it, to how do I actually create something from scratch. I think is probably when people start becoming a developer, when they can figure that out. Was there like an aha moment for you guys where you started feeling like it was clicking, like you're just like, okay, I actually know what to, like, I haven't figured it all out, but I know that I can figure it out?
I'd say when I built the weather app on free code camp, that's when I feel like it really started clicking for me. Like you're talking about pre-course work, not in the cohort, right?
Yeah.
Definitely the weather app, because like I was actually hitting an API, I was grabbing some data, and then I was throwing it up on the screen, and that's when like things were like, wow, it's like, all right, something's actually happening here. This is more than just, I'm just throwing like HTML templates on the screen.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. As soon as like you start hitting like APIs and start doing it like by yourself, like making those API calls, that means like you really understand it, and you can just like mess around with the data using like your algorithmic skills that you learned.
Now, what would be the we'll do the best and then we'll do the worst aspect, because I always think it's so what was the best part of DevMountain for you guys?
Best part.
Like what would you say, was it something in their program they excelled at, or something that they did surprisingly well, or that you were like, this is, if you were trying to sell me on DevMountain, for instance, what would be one of the highlights?
I really like the mentors. I thought that was really interesting, because it's basically like having like the best kids from like the last previous classes, what mentors are, if you haven't heard of what their mentor thing is. So what a mentor is basically the cohort before, whoever like the best kids are, whatever, get offered to be like kind of like a TA sort of teacher in the next cohort. And with those guys in there, I feel like you're like best friends kind of with the kid that's like the best in the class. You can go up to him, you can hit him with questions, and it's not like intimidating because it's not like the teacher or anything. It's just like a kid that just graduated before you. So they're very knowledgeable, and I thought that was like one of the best parts. Is like you just kind of hit up this guy and be like, hey, you know, I'm having a problem hitting this API. I can't figure out how to display this correctly. Can you help me out? I thought that was really helpful.
Yeah, I think my favorite part was just like the struggle, because bootcamp is like extremely hard. Like they move so well. The first 2 weeks was like pretty slow because we were learning like basic like HTML, CSS. But when you start moving into like Angular and like other frameworks, you're like struggling like with the other students, and then you like build like a stronger bond with each other. And then I don't know. And then in the end, it's just like really sad when you like say bye to everyone. I don't know. That was my favorite part, just the struggle. Really.
I can appreciate that. That's one of the interesting things that intrigues me to like. I have no need to go to a boot camp, but I want to go to a boot camp because I want to.
Fun. It's fun.
I want to dive into the like, let's just code 80 to 100 hours a week and fuck everything else. Like that. So I really want to go to one eventually. So, all right, let's go on the other side of the coin, because there's always, even though I think DevMountain's a very great program, and I think they're doing great things. And what would be one area that you think they could probably improve upon?
I think they can make the pre-course work a bit harder and make it a little tougher for kids, because there are definitely some kids in my cohort that shouldn't have been there. Like there's some kids that just like, they should have studied a lot more, I think, before they came in, because like they were kind of, some kids would slow down the class because they weren't, you know, that they were, you know what I mean, like they're asking like what's a for loop in like second week, and I was just like come on, man, like you gotta have it on some kind of pre-course work here, like you don't just do that. I feel like they could have made that better.
I feel like those are the type of individuals who probably aren't successful in boot camps because they think that they're just going to go, they got the check mark, and now they're going to go and get a job. Well, while in reality, it doesn't necessarily work like that. It prepares you if you're prepared. Like, and yes. So I know when to talk about that specific thing, I went to the Iron Yard, which is a boot camp in Florida and on the East Coast. But I was there for something, and there was a guy in a cohort there, and it was like Friday, and on Monday they were supposed to start React. And I learned this after helping him with a for loop for generating like a random number, basically something nothing super complex. And I was like, "You're starting React on Monday, and you don't understand how for loop works. This is going to be rough, man." So if you're in that category and you don't prepare yourself, it's going to be very hard for you to excel.
100%.
What about you, Andy? What was one area that you think that perhaps they could improve upon?
I wish when I came there they updated their curriculum to a more like modern framework that every other company is using. Just because like we went in there studying Angular for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And,
yeah, I think we studied for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. And
the jobs in Utah, when Dom and my other friends that went to the job fair there, everyone at the job fair was only asking for React. And all we knew was Angular. We were just like pros at Angular. But yeah, I wish they just updated their curriculum.
Which, I mean, they did now. They did now. I mean, it is hard to keep up with the web dev thing. And like, I'm sure building a curriculum is tough. But still, yeah, I would say the same with what Andy just said too. Because like right now, like I feel like if I knew React, it'd be a little bit easier because there's not as many people nowadays that know React.
Now, so were you learning Angularjs or are you learning Angular 2+?
Just Angular 1.
Angular 1?
4, or yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough because I'm an Angularjs developer at work, and I recently started studying Angular 2. I can understand why they're not teaching Angular 2 because it's a hard thing to grasp. But
I like Angular 2, man. I've been playing with it since I graduated.
React is so much better though. Like once you like actually make apps with it, it makes a lot of sense.
Now,
until you get to Redux.
Now, do you feel now having gone through a program and worked with a framework like Angular, would you say that you both are prepared to go and learn React on your own with additional resources and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely. You just got to put in the time. I mean, particularly, I kind of picked Angular 2 and TypeScript. That's what I'm learning right now, instead of kind of going a little bit harder in React. I mean, I've done some React stuff, but I don't know. I kind of like Angular better than React, to be honest. So that's just kind of the route I'm going to, is like Angular 2 and TypeScript.
Yeah, I touched on, or in the bootcamp, we touched on React for about like 2 days. And I don't know, I really enjoy React on how like the components work. And yeah, it's just a really fun framework to work with, even though like the learning curve is like really high up there.
Yeah, it's an interesting place for frameworks right now because I'm in the process of trying to add Angular 4 and React. Nice. And what I've discovered is that I can only at this point in time I need to choose one, and I can't do both at the same time. So I've dove into Angular 4, but I've spent probably about 2 weeks on each, or a week on one and 2 weeks on React. And what I've basically discovered is that those specific frameworks are actively evolving to very, very quickly, that it's going to be almost impossible to, I think, that by the time the 3 months is up, I feel like there's going to be a new version of Angular out and a new version of React.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're able to get those skills and build projects in it, and it sounds like that's what you guys are doing, I would imagine that you're not going to have any problem landing a job. Because I see the same thing. It's like Angular 2+ or React. I see a lot of React, Redux, React Native.
So are you doing TypeScript too? I'm curious.
So I started with Angular 2 last 2 days, literally. Okay. But I am doing it in TypeScript. I have like the last section of the Angular 4. I think they're in for 4.2 right now, and I'm doing it in TypeScript. I don't fully understand TypeScript yet. Like I understand it because of in the sense of defining objects, but because I'm using their quick start guide, I need to essentially build my own project. So after today, I'm going to start building some YouTube tools that I want to build as a project, and add that to my portfolio using Angular 4. So that's the game plan. And when I do that, before I start that, I'll take I'll watch a 1 hour TypeScript video and get going. Because there's not that much to learn with TypeScript. No. It's just about understanding the setup for it and how to get going.
Yeah, I really like the IntelliSense thing though. Like on your editor, have you seen any videos about that? It's kind of like if you want to like merge a file, like import a file into another file, it'll just give you like a list of all that files. Like as soon as you start typing, and you just kind of just like toggle down to whatever file you want to import in. And it does that with the functions. Whenever you make a function, you want to import in the function into a new file, and you start typing, it just comes right up on the screen. That's like my favorite part about TypeScript.
Yeah, it's it goes kind of talking about TypeScript is it kind of goes to the just adding to a little bit of a difficulty with Angular, like as if Angular 2+ wasn't going to be hard enough. Let's just add in sort of a new barrier of entry. But at the same time, if you're able to master, Angular 2 and React and all these libraries, there's a reason that you can graduate 3-month boot camp and then go and get a job for 6 figures. Sometimes it's because you go and you gain the hard skills that they want.
For sure, yeah. There was one kid in our class that he just killed it throughout the entire cohort. Man, the kid had a job before we even were finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had offers flying in the door, man. He just murdered it.
Yeah, and I bet he's like 15. Like
No,
No,
I think he's on the older side, to be honest.
I always feel like those guys that kill it are like they've been coding since they were like 5, and then you're over there like, yo, man, I got like children that are older than you. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was weird. The people, like the friends that we made in the boot camp, like barely had any coding experience. And at the end, they like, I guess their brain just got it, and they just understood how like data flow works between APIs, and I don't know, it was crazy. Like I was teaching this guy how to do Angular, and then now he's like way better than me at it. I don't know.
So,
I thought that was pretty impressive.
How many hours a week were you guys putting in? Because sometimes people think that they're going to go in there and put in 30 hours a week, and those are the people who are unsuccessful. Realistically, how many hours were you actually studying and working and going to class?
All right, so what? Every day you're there from 9 to 5, and then I'd say we would go home. We'd take a break for a couple hours, like probably like 2-3 hours. We just chill out.
Yeah.
And then we'd start coding again at probably like 9 o'clock. Yeah, we were up pretty late every night. Probably not the best idea, but whatever. So we started coding again at probably 9, and then probably coded until like 1 or 2 in the morning again. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hours a day times 5 times a week. So 25 plus on the weekend. Dude, on the weekends we went hard.
Oh like, yeah, weekends. Yeah, we
really hard on the weekends. I think Sunday. I put in the most daily hours of work on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That was just how we're kind of just running it. I would say you want to put it like on top of your coursework, another 50 hours per week. I would say.
So moving forward with you guys being recent grads, what is the game plan? What is the game plan to go from a grad to? Is it to land that internship and then see where you're at? Is it to just try and go for that full-time salary role? What is the game plan, and how do you both plan on executing it?
So first, you go. Okay. So game plan is try to get what you can in coding, as in like. So for me, I have an option to be a teacher aide or an instructor at a coding bootcamp. So I am gonna take the job just so I have experience with it, and then find a real job while I'm, teaching kids how to code.
I think that's a good choice, because I think so as you're doing that, you'll get much better just regurgitating the content, but it also gives you time to better your skill set, build up a portfolio, and learn new things. So I think it's probably a great choice.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going straight for the job. I've applied for a couple internships, but I wouldn't be as happy if I got an internship. I would much rather just get a job right off the bat. But I mean, I'm just apply.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Yeah, I hear you. I know when before I landed my current role, and I had a little bit of experience, but nothing as a developer. And I probably filled out 500 applications and got calls back on maybe 10 or 20.
Damn.
wow.
So
Yeah, I'm up to like 35. But I mean, damn, 500. Shit.
But I was willing. I was willing to relocate. So I don't know if you guys are willing to relocate. I think that's an option that really that helps you in the long run, because you're open to more jobs and you're applying in regions that perhaps have less competition, which was what ended up being my strength. Is I was able to, once I started applying outside of the Los Angeles area, I started getting callbacks left and right, and I probably filled out, I would say, 25 apps a day. And so I don't know But my suggestion is if you are open to relocating, you may land that job much sooner than you would expect.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of just got a new apartment, so I'm not trying to relocate.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Admitted, man.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to relocate, but yeah.
All right, any questions from people in chat? Start typing them out. Anything you guys wanted to share about your experience that we didn't cover?
Something I want to share. Make projects before you go there. Don't just do tutorials. Don't just look at the tutorial and watch the tutorial. Code. Like, don't just like watch people code. Like, legit make, like, if you're watching, like, say if you're watching Dylan make a weather app, you make a weather app as he's making the weather app. Like, don't just sit there and just like, oh wow, that's an API. Oh, that's interesting. No, code with him. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a huge thing when you're trying to learn.
Yeah, just make projects. I know that's like a repeated thing to say, but it works. You learn a lot by making your own projects.
It also, on that sentiment, it's one of the number one things I tell people to. Not only will you learn, but in terms of being practical, of getting hired, all you have to show on your resume at the end of the day is what you've built to prove that you're a developer, right? Because you have no resume experience. You can't, like, no one paid you for years to do this. So what you can do is say, hey, look at what I built. These are the skills I have. So it's a great thing in a more practical sense as well. All right. What concepts did you learn at the boot camp? And a lot of this stuff you can learn online through resources, but was there a specific concept that you were glad you had an instructor for that maybe you thought, you know what, man, if this guy wasn't here or this girl wasn't here, this would be a grind to learn?
I say Node. I think Node was pretty difficult for me to grasp.
Node was probably the hardest thing. We'll also React too, but yeah, with an instructor for Node, they explain it so well that it works out with Node.
All right, I think, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Is there any places? I don't know if you guys are doing any social media stuff or have any projects you want to promote.
Penguin House Designs.
What's Penguin House Design?
All right, so when we were in the cohort together, we made like a pretty solid friend group of like 4 kids, and we were just like seeing if we could take it somewhere, you know, try to start like a little freelancing business or something. We thought that'd be pretty dope, but we're actually trying to find some leads, but I don't know, we haven't gotten too many calls back yet. But we actually we had a meeting with the guy and the whole 9 yards. We just got to get him to sign the contract and start working. Mm-hmm. But we thought it's kind of like a dream of ours, like a far-fetched dream. But I think we could do it.
Hey, I encourage everyone to chase their dreams, man. I know a lot of people get into software because they're attracted to the digital nomad lifestyle sort of thing, and that's a dream in itself. So I hope that works out for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fun side thing we're doing.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make it.
All right, well, good luck to you guys. I know it's you're out there looking and improving, and it sounds like you're doing all the right things. So I want to thank you for reaching out and being able to talk about your experience at DevMountain.
For sure, man.
All right,
yeah, thanks, man.
Have a good one, guys, and good luck.
Thanks, you too.
All right, guys. So that was our interview with our 2 DevMountain grads. We covered a lot of stuff, and it sounds like one is graduating. Andy is graduating and going to be an instructor at a coding boot camp, and Dominic is still looking for work. I imagine he seems to be doing all the right things. I would imagine that he will be probably successful. And mind you, it's only been 3 weeks since he's graduated, so I would imagine if he's getting calls back, even though they're few, and he's only filled out 35 apps, they will continue to roll in, and he will continue to get better and move forward. So it's only a matter of time. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine. And if you want to support me, you can at patreon.com/codingtutorials360. I hope you all stay motivated. I hope you all stay working hard. It's a grind out there. Bootcamp, no boot camps, computer science degree, no computer science degree. You always need to keep learning whatever aspect in life you're at. Just keep on moving forward, and you'll get there. One step forward is one step closer, guys. That's how I look at it, and I hope you guys are taking a step closer to whatever it is that you are hoping to do in your life and whatever it is that you're hoping to accomplish. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Special thanks to our sponsors, DevMountain. If you're looking for a coding bootcamp where tuition and housing is included, definitely check them out. Appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.